you're joining from. Please confirm you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to today's session. I'm just gonna turn on my camera in a bit. And then yeah. Hi everyone. Good evening. I hope you guys are doing well today. Once again, welcome to this session. It promises to be exciting and super interesting, right? This is a session for us to learn about business analysis, also a case study based session, and yeah, we're going to be having plenty of fun and learning as well. Okay, so my name is Damilola from Analytics, and I'd like to meet every other person on the call. So if you guys wanna, it's not much. So I think this is going to be like a very interactive and very intimate session. Okay, so if you can tell me your name and where you're joining from, that would be very much appreciated. So your name and where you're joining from. While I go ahead to share my screen, so you can just drop it in the chat, just to get to know each other better. Okay. 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 Zintil. Zintel. I hope I pronounced that correctly. From South Africa. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Tuning from Port Harcourt. Welcome as well. Good to have you here. Okay. So while we're waiting for other people to join, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen and introduce us to this session.
My name is Charity.
And
My name is
Chantel.
Charity. I'm joining from Abuja. I'm interested in data analytics. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Charity. It's good to see you. Thank you for sharing that. Cool. So Ubang, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So once again, welcome everyone. Today we are going to be working, it's a business analysis session. So today we're going to be working on performing gap analysis as a business analyst. And we're going to be looking at like a real life case study. Okay. But before we get started, I'm going to introduce, the company hosting this power-packed session. So we are Analytics, and we are an edtech company helping people of the global community learn premium tech skills and lowering the entry barrier into tech. Right, we're basically all about helping people transition into tech, literally holding their hands and helping them achieve their career goals or their transition goals. And our service offerings are aimed at building capacity and understanding across different tech career paths. Because obviously, like, building capacity is very, very important. And yeah, this cuts across different tech area paths like data analytics, business analysis that we have here today, data engineering, cybersecurity, Scrum Master, financial analytics, data science, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And we have facilitators from different walks of life, people that are very, very experienced in their field, right? People from diverse sectors and reputable organizations like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Amazon, Deloitte, Google, Sahara Group. It goes on and on and on. And our courses are structured in a way that makes it extremely practical and ensures that you get optimal value
okay? Because value is very important, right? Yeah. So feel free to follow us on Twitter at Analytics, on LinkedIn as well at Analytics, on Instagram at Analytics, and you can also check out our website. Just type in Analytics on Google. It will show you Analytics, so you can check us out at analytics.io. Okay, and meet our founders, the visionaries behind Analytics. We have on my left-hand side Adeza Suleiman, who is the founder of Analytics. Is a data analytics expert, a data science consultant across UK, United States, and Canada. And he has previously worked as a data analyst with business performance in Sahara Group. Also worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC. And Adeza is somebody who has over or close to close to a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting, and he has worked in different sectors such as sports, professional services, edtech, energy, automobile sectors, and so on and so forth. So Adeza has personally trained over 8,500 participants and helped them kickstart their career in tech. So feel free to connect with Adeza on LinkedIn at Adeza Suleiman, on Twitter at Adeza as well, and on Instagram at Adeza Suleiman. Then on my right hand side, we have Ifemina Ipro. And Ifemina is the co-founder of Analytics. He's a data science contractor across UK and the US. Is a business data support lead at Post Office. He used to work as a business data support lead at Post Office in the UK. Has worked as a global business systems analyst with Teleflex Ireland, and a business intelligence developer with DPD Ireland. And he has experience in data analytics, data science, power platform engineering. He's a data scientist with close to a decade years of experience, cutting across multiple sectors as well. So feel free to follow Ifemina Ipro on LinkedIn at Ifemina Ipro, on Twitter at Ifemina IK, and on Instagram as well. All right. So moving on. Yeah, you've got your facilitators for today. On the left-hand side is Oluwaseun Fabule. He works as a systems analyst / a product reliability engineer with Visa Europe. And Seun is a business systems analyst with approximately 7 years of experience cutting across telecoms, manufacturing, and payments industries. He has previously worked at MTN Nigeria as a business analyst and Slingo UK as a process analyst. So feel free to connect with Seun on LinkedIn at Oluwaseun Fabule. Then there's me on your right hand side, right? My name is Oluwadamilola Ajumobi, and I currently lead the trading operations here at Analytics. And I have over 5 years of experience in data analytics and data science. And I enjoy working on high-level projects, C-suite executive projects cutting across NGOs, education, finance, and technology. So yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn at Oluwadamilola. All right. So yeah. So I'm going to quickly also going to introduce what we have. What are we doing here today? Number one is we're going to be discussing who a business analyst is. Okay, who a business analyst is, and also what business analysis is, because there's a common misconception about who a business analyst is. There's a lot of argument about it, so to speak. So we're going to be demystifying all of that here today. Then we'll also do a little bit of performing gap analysis as a business analyst. And we're going to look at a case study of where and when to perform gap analysis. Then we'll talk about how you can land your first job as a business analyst. Okay. Then number 3, we'll look at our upcoming business analysis cohort and how you can be a part of that cohort. Number 4, we'll look at some success stories and also special discounts that we have for you. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to be calling up Oluwaseun to take over the practical aspects of the session. Hi, Seun.
Hi, Damilola. Good evening. Just you're doing well. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Can you hear me? And can you see
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see my screen as well? Not yet?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen, Seun.
Okay. Can you see what I'm sharing? That's what I'm asking. I'm not sure if that is showing yet.
Yeah, you're sharing the Meet Your Facilitators
Okay,
page.
fantastic. All right. Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. My name is Oluwaseun. I would just like to meet you. I know we've said, where you're joining from and all of that on the chat, but I would just like to know, your background, right? I understand we're all here to, learn about business analysis and how you can transition. A lot of us want to transition into tech and all of that. But I'd like to know your background, right? Where you're coming from, right? Are you a lawyer? Because we've had lawyers, come for our training classes and transition into tech. We've had, people in the medical field. We've had, all sorts. You could be a student just finishing from uni. You could just be an entrepreneur, right? You've been in business all your life, right? You've done, this course is for everybody, right? So I just want to have a feel of your background, right? If you're also a practicing business analyst already, just put in the chat, what's your background at the moment? What do you do currently? So we have a feel of, people on the call today. So I'm waiting to read your chats. Who do we have? Okay, Charity is a BA. Is it the same Charity that I know? Not sure. All right, who else? Anne Odins is an educator by profession, now an estate agent. That's good. One of the use cases we'll be looking at today is on real estate, so it's good that you're here. Who else? Who else? We have over 30 people on the call. Eunice is in sales and marketing, fantastic. Ekemini is customer service presently. Background is communication arts. That's very good. Well, who else? Yeah, Jitra is an entrepreneur. Mary is an agronomist. Fantastic. It appears we have a diverse set of the group of people on the call today. Tony from Port Harcourt, background engineering, currently a consultant to Shell IT department. Fantastic. Who else? Who else is telling us a background? Cassidy is currently learning digital marketing. That's good. All right. So you're welcome. It's good, right? That I mean, we have quite a diverse group of people on the call today, and I always like to say that business analysis is for everyone, regardless of your background, regardless of where you're coming from, right? I know a lot of us want to transition into tech, right? And there's this thing about you see tech bro, tech sis, and everybody wants to become a tech bro or a tech sis, right? And I believe business analysis is one of the easiest ways for you to transition into tech, right? Because it doesn't require so much of. I'll talk about that in a couple of slides. Chinere is from Canada, marketing manager, learning business analysis. Fantastic. All right. A brief introduction, just as Dami has introduced me. I'm Oluwaseun. I currently work with Visa Europe, which is a payments company, as a product engineer. I have approximately 7 years experience as a business analyst or slash systems analyst. My previous experiences were at MTN Nigeria, where I worked as a business analyst for about 4.5 years. If I relocated to the UK, I worked briefly with Slinko UK, which is a manufacturing company, as a process analyst. And then currently I work with Visa Europe, as I said. All right. Hioma worked in the food sector and currently learning BA. Just like also Dami has said earlier, we'll be talking about what is business analysis. Who is a business analyst? They will be looking at today's topic for this masterclass, performing a gap analysis as a business analyst. We'll be looking at some case studies and some gap analysis tools as well. Please confirm you can hear me. Benjamin says you can't get audio. Please confirm that I'm audible.
Sure, we can hear you.
All right, good. So Benjamin, I think that's yours. That's on your end. If you could log out and log back in. And also how to land your first job, business analyst. And I think Dami will take us through the upcoming business analysis cohorts, starting, and then the success stories and the special discount. All right, let's jump into it. Charity says yellow shares. So I suspect Charity, have you worked with MTN before or in the past? Because that yellow is insiders that would, that's how we greet each other. All right. Oh yeah. Okay, fantastic. All right, so introduction to business analysis, right? But before we even go there, right, I just want to ask on the call quickly. I know for a lot of us, for a couple of us, you've heard about business analysis, right? One way or the other. Either you have friends that are business analysts, or you've read about it somewhere. You've come across it somewhere. What do you currently understand as business analysis, right? There's no wrong or right answers, right? This is a learning field for all of us. So just to test your knowledge, what do you currently think is business analysis, right? Based on your understanding, based on the things you've heard and you've read, right? Does anyone want to come to the mic and tell us what do you understand by business analysis? Anybody? Anyone? What's your current understanding of business analysis? All right, Ellen says finding solutions to business needs. Yes, that's one of it. Zoom user says how to analyze a business. Kemini is saying identifying business problems and preferring solutions through processes. Fantastic. Anybody else? Chinyere is saying giving a business strategy on how to succeed. Okay. Right. Yeah, we've all given very good definitions of business analysis, right? Charity is saying ability to draw insight and recommend workable solutions. Cassidy is saying business analysis, I think, represents critical deconstruction of processes and how to rightly apply the right strategies. Yeah, some sort. Fantastic contributions. Thank you, everyone. We can all, talk about business analysis, based on our own understanding and all of that. But it's important for us to be able to, define business analysis according to the standard, right? So we have a body which is called the International Institute of Business Analysis, the IIBA, who, are sort of like the standardized body that governs business analysis, worldwide, right? So they have defined business analysis, that's International Institute of Business Analysis. They have defined business analysis as the practice of enabling change, right? It's the practice of enabling change. A and Odin say business analysis is being a middle person to put down business processes for client needs. Yes, right. But according to IIBA, right, the business analysis is the practice of enabling change, right? And like there's a common saying that says, change is the most constant thing, right? We are constantly going through changes, right? As individuals in our lives, you're constantly going through changes. For example, a lot of you are on this call because you're on the transition into tech. That's a change, right? From your primary school, you moved into secondary school. That's a change. From secondary school, you moved into uni. You started working. Some of you got married. You had kids. You're constantly evolving. You're constantly going through changes as people, as individuals. It's the same for businesses. It's the same for organizations, right? Organizations are constantly going through changes, right? Companies want to make more money. they want to, increase their revenue, they want to satisfy their customers, they want to, release new products, increase, release new services, so that they can make more money. That is a change, right? They're constantly going through change, right? Where we were last, year as a company is not the same way the company wants to be this year, right? For example, at the end of the year, the company will probably release, their revenue, and say this is our end of year revenue. We made $1 million, right? But that same company, even if that $1 million, they have superseded their expectations, you would see that by the time they are setting expectations for the new year, they are raising the bar, right? That's a change because no one wants to stay the same, right? So business analysis is that practice of enabling that change, right? For us to move from point A to point B, from one point to the other, right? So that transitioning of you moving from one point to the other is the change, right? And business analysis is the practice of enabling that change. I want us to focus on the parts, here that is boldened, right? It's the practice of enabling change in an organization, right? So in the context of business analysis, that change enablement happens within an organization, right? Within a business, a company, right? And this happens by defining needs, right? I think it was Ellen that said, it's you define needs to um um identify business problems. They came in and says identify business problems and preferring solutions, right? So you define needs, right? As individuals, we have needs, right? Some of you want to, relocate, some of you want to get married, some of you want to have a new job, some of you want to transition. Those are your needs, Companies also have needs, right? They want to satisfy their customers. They want to improve their customer experiences, right? So for example, maybe customers are complaining, that they're not able to, when they want to call into customer care, they're not able to, get in touch with customer care, or the services are slow, and all of those things, right? That's a need, right? The company wants to improve that need. They want to improve their customer experience. They want to make more money. They want to release new products, right? So it's by defining needs, right? Basically identifying problems, right? And recommending solutions to those needs, right? To those problems. How do we meet this need? How do we meet this problem, right? Customer has called in. I'll use an example, in telecoms, I bought 20 gig bundle. But I'm not able to use it, right? That's a problem, right? Or customers are complaining that, the network is slow. They're not able to use their bundle on Instagram or something. That's a business problem, right? Or they're saying that, it takes customers about, 10 minutes for them to purchase a bundle. Maybe they go on the MTN application or the Airtel app, right? Some of you've experienced this, right? You want to buy a data bundle and then you go on the app, to buy the bundle, and then it takes you forever because the user journey is not, is not efficient enough, right? You have to click a lot of buttons, before you're able to finally purchase it. Or maybe you want to make payments, the payment is not going through, and customers are complaining about these things. That's a problem, right? As a business analyst, you're to identify that problem, and then recommend a solution to meet that, right? How do we solve that problem, right? Do we need to shorten the customer journey? Do we need to optimize it? Do we need to reduce it so that, by the time a customer wants to buy a data bundle, within 2, 3, 4 clicks, the customer has done what they need to do and the customer is happy, right? So it's the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value. So whatever recommendations you're coming up with as a business analyst, it has to deliver value, right? There's no point you coming up with a recommendation or a solution that doesn't add value, right? And value could be, in fact, value doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of return, in terms of money, right? Value could be improving customer experience, increasing customer base, increasing customer loyalty, whatever solution it is, right? It has to deliver value, right? And you deliver this value to stakeholders, and your stakeholders can be either internal stakeholders or external stakeholders, right? So internal stakeholders, you have, your CFOs, the CEO of the company, the chief marketing officer, the chief finance officer, you have the internal stakeholders, right? The people, the investors, right? The shareholders, right? They will be your internal stakeholders. And of course, you have your external stakeholders, who are your customers, right? Your clients, right? So you're delivering value to both your internal stakeholders because you're helping the company to make more money, to improve, increase revenue. You're also delivering value to the customers who are your external stakeholders because you're making their lives easier. Whatever solution you're coming up with, right? All these services that we use as people, as individuals, is to make our lives better, right? To make our lives easier, right? You want to buy data bundles so you can browse, so you can get on internet, right? You want to get on a savings application, for example, use a savings service so you can save money, right? So you're delivering value in that sense. And how do you deliver this value? You do that using a set of tasks and techniques, right? So business analysis, let's just go right again. It's the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs, right? And recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders using a set of tasks and techniques, right? So the tasks and techniques are, the different tools and techniques that you need to be equipped with as a business analyst for you to be able to, define those needs and recommend those solutions. One of those techniques is what we'll be looking at today, which is gap analysis, right? There are several techniques that you need to be equipped with as a business analyst. There's process mapping, there's risk metrics, there's SDLC, there's Jira, there's Scrum, there's all sorts that you need to be equipped with, before you can be a business analyst, right? A proper business analyst, right? So who is a business analyst? Now, drawing from the definition that we've just given, a business analyst is an agent of change, right? And that's what, drawing from the definition that says that from IAB that says the practice of enabling change. So as a business analyst, you're seen as a change enabler, as an agent of change, right? If you're joining a team, right? Let's say you're joining a team, an IT team, a company as a business analyst, the first thing that comes to the mind of other people in that team or other your other colleagues in the company is that you're coming to change how things work, because that's how a business analyst is saying. You're an agent of change, right? Um, um, so Cassidy is SDLC, not SCSC, SDLC, that's software development lifecycle. I'm just going to put it, but thanks for summarizing that, SDLC. So you're an agent, you're seen as an agent of change. You're seen to come and, change things. Customers are not happy with the way our services are as a company. You're there to improve that process, right? Customers want to, register their SIM. A lot of you are familiar with this, especially for those in Nigeria, when you want to carry out SIM registration, right? You go into a store, and then sometimes it takes you 1 hour, before you're able to finally register your SIM. You've wasted, 1 hour of your time. It can be shorter, right? So you're seen as that agent of change to come and change how things work, to come and improve, the way things are, at the moment. Secondly, you identify the needs and define expectation and define solutions that will maximize value delivered by an organization to its stakeholders, right? So you opt to identify the needs, right? And in business analysis, we call that the current state, the as is, right? So for example, your company has a need, they have a business problem, right? It takes customers about 1 hour to, to register their SIM cards, right? The customers want to register their SIM, they go into the store to buy the SIM, they have to take their biometrics, take their fingerprints and all of this. And it takes about 1 hour. Customers are complaining, maybe on Twitter it's trending, that, why does it take forever, for you to register your SIM at MTN? And even when you finish registering it, your SIM does not become active after 2 hours or 3 hours, which is a long time, all of these are problems, right? Which businesses don't want, right? So that is the current state of that process, of the SIM registration process. Let's target, that name. That is the current state. That is the as is, right? We call it the as is. So I'm just going to put that in the chat quickly. As is, which is the current state, right? But the company wants to get to a point, right? The future state where, the customers that want to register their SIM are able to do so under 15 minutes or 20 minutes, right? That is the future state, right? That is the to be, right? The to be state. So I'm just going to put that in the chat as well. So you start to get familiar with some of these terms, right? So the assist currently, or the current state of that SIM registration process, right, is that, it takes our customers about 1 hour for them to register their SIM cards, which we don't want. We don't want our customers to come in and it takes them forever, to do that, right? The future state, which is to be where we want to get to as a company, as a business, is we want our customers to be able to register their SIMs in 15 minutes. They come into the customer service center, under 15 minutes, they're able to walk out with their registered SIM. Customers are happy, the service is fine, right? So you opt to identify those needs and define the solutions that will maximize value, delivered by an organization to stakeholders. Number 3, as a business analyst, you have specialized knowledge to act as a guide and lead the business through unknown or mapped territory. You have specialized knowledge to act as a guide and lead the business through unknown or map territory. I'll give an example. Let's say for example you're working as you're a BA. You're working with let's say Mercedes. That's an automobile company, right? As a business analyst, right? And Mercedes, and I'm using different industry examples because as a business analyst you can work in any industry. You don't have to restrict yourself to just tech, you know core tech industries or telecoms or payments. You can be in any industry. So you're working as a business analyst in Mercedes, right, which is an automobile company. And Mercedes currently today they only produce petrol powered vehicles, right? Petrol powered engines, right? Which is you have to fuel it by petrol, all of that. That is the current state, right? That is the as is. But Mercedes, right, based on future projections, they want to start building driverless cars, right? You're all familiar with Tesla, electric cars, electric vehicles. That is the future state for them. That is where they want to get to. They want to move from the point where they're only producing petrol-powered cars, right, to where they're producing, electric vehicles, right? So they want to go from that current state to the future state, right? They've never been there. They've never built electric vehicles in the past, right? This is an unmapped territory for them. This is unknown. As the business analyst, you're there to guide them through that transition and through that change. Remember when we're defining, business analysis, it says the practice of enabling change. They're going to go through a change, right, in achieving their future state, right? So you're there to act as a specialized knowledge. It doesn't mean that you have an understanding of how Tesla works or how electric vehicles work, right? You most often than not don't even you've never even maybe driven in an electric vehicle before, right? But you're just there as the guide, right? Because you'll be given tools, to carry out research. How does electric vehicles work? Sometimes, you even be given, a field tour. They'll probably take you to, a Tesla store so that you can enter into an electric vehicle, see how it works, probably give it a test drive. All of these things are what would make you act as that guide. They just need you to be that guide, that will tell them what are the things that they need, for them to get to that future state. Right? For example, some of the things would be, they would need a better a navigation system, right? Because a driverless car has to have a good navigation system where, the car can go on its own, can navigate, the roads by itself and all of those things. Of course, they would need to move from having a petrol, engine to having, EV, electric charging, right? Where you need to charge, electricity and all of those things. Those are some of the requirements, right? I'm sure as a business analyst, you'll be talking a lot about requirements. Requirements are basically the needs, right? What do you want to achieve? So you have that specialized knowledge to act as that guide to lead the business, the company, right? Whatever company, whatever industry, through that unknown or map territory. They've never been there before, right? But they want to get there. So you're there to help them transition, to make that change to where they want to be. Now, finally, as a business analyst, you're an interface, and this is the part of the business analyst that I love so much, and that's why I always say that business analysis is out of all the suites of tech roles. Business analysis is one of the easiest, right, for you to transition into tech, for you to become a tech bro or a techsys, right? You act as an interface between the business teams and development teams. Someone said earlier when we're asking for, your understanding of business analysis that you're sort of like a middleman. Yes, that is what you are as a business analyst. You are interface between the business teams and the development teams or the technical teams, right? So business teams in this case, typically in companies, you would have, the marketing department, you would have sales department, you would have finance department, you would have HR, you'd have customer service. Those are, people we categorize as business teams because they are primarily focused on, the business functions, how the business works, how the business functions, right? And then on the other hand, you have the development teams, who are the technical guys. These are the guys that, do the actual coding, and building, the solution. As a business analyst, you necessarily don't have to have, don't need to have a coding experience or coding skills. But, as time goes on, you start to build the skills based on your interaction with the technical team. So I hope that's clear. In getting into business analysis, you don't need that skill to have, to have a coding skill and all of those things. But you will find, and this is what I found based on experience, that with time, because you are that interface between the business team and the development teams or the technical teams, you start to pick up some of these skills, right? You start to be able to test, APIs, application programming interfaces. You start to pick up this, development jargons, as time goes on. So you're that interface between the business teams and development teams. So the business teams will come to you, for example, the customer service team will come to you, for example, and say, we have a problem, we have a challenge. Our customers are complaining that it takes them 1 hour to register their SIMs. How can we improve this process? What are the things that we can do, right? Or they come to you, the finance team can come to you to say, we want to build a savings application, a new app, right? I want to build a savings application for teenagers, right? Or for Gen Zs, right? That's a need, right? Because they want to capture that, that youth segment, for example, right? That's a need, right? So as a business analyst, you take that requirement, that is the current, so you take that requirement, and then you start to expatiate on it, you elicit on it. So some of the other skills, in business analysis, some other techniques, that's elicitation techniques, right? You start to expatiate on it, you flesh out that requirement, right? Such that it's understandable, it's clear to everyone. And then you pass on these requirements to the development team, right? To the technical guys, and they will be the ones to actually develop, that product, that service application. The development teams, the technical guys, those guys that those coders, they don't just come up with ideas from their head. They don't just build solutions from their head. They follow a guide, which is your requirements. The requirements that the business analyst has given to them to build that product or to build that solution, right? So you act as that interface between the business team and the development team, right? The reason why I love this also is because, as because you're that middleman, that interface between the business team and development team, it's sort of like you're getting the best of both worlds, right? You understand how the business thinks, how they function, when they start talking about return on investment, when they start talking about market segments, when they start talking about go-to-market, you start to pick up some of this, understanding some of the skills of how the business operates or how they function. On the other hand, you start to understand how the technical teams also think, how they function. You start to pick up some technical terms, some technical skills, and that's why as a business analyst, you can, the array of options for you to explore, your career is limitless. You can then, transition into being a product manager or a product owner, or you can decide to even be, go into core tech like I've done, go into systems analysis, go into product reliability, all of those things. So for me, you get the best of both worlds. You can decide to, remain in product core, or decide to go into, proper tech, proper core, proper development, right? Because you pick up those skills, as you go, right? So that's just a brief introduction about business analysis and what way business analyst is. So quickly, today we're going to be talking about gap analysis, which I said is one of the techniques that you would need to be equipped with as a business analyst. So what is gap analysis? Gap analysis is a method of assessing the performance of a business unit or process to determine whether business requirements or objectives are being met, right? And if they're not being met, what steps should be taken to meet them, right? So a gap analysis, right? Like the name implies gap. Basically looking for the gaps in a particular process, right? This particular process, let's say, is not working, right? Or it's not optimized. The process ideally should take maybe 20 minutes, but when customers are using that process, it takes them 1 hour. That means there are issues with it, there are gaps, right? We need to identify those gaps, so that we can solve that problem, right? So we can solve that problem. So that's a gap analysis. A gap analysis may also be referred to as needs analysis, needs assessment, or need gap analysis, right? But in most cases, it's called a gap analysis. Right. So what are the first steps to performing a gap analysis? Number one is to analyze the current state of that process, right? Who can remind us what I said is the BA term for current state? What's the BA term for current state? Anyone? What did I say it is? The assist. Very well, very good, Cassidy. Thanks for that. So you analyze the as-is state of that process, right? For example, if your company, the company that you work with, wants to become the most loved in the industry, right? They want to be the best company in the industry. But your customer support team, reports that the calls and customer interactions end in frustration on the customer's part, right? An analysis of that current state would lead to finding the root cause and the underlying problems, right? A lot of us are familiar with this. Sometimes when you call a customer service center, right, it could be for any service. Sometimes you're on the call for like 45 minutes, 1 hour. That's some songs you have to play in the background. Before your call is picked, it can be frustrating, right? as a customer, right? Sometimes you just get very annoyed and you just even end the call because you just don't have the time. And because of that, sometimes you even find people move on to other competitors, because of just that problem, right? So for your company that you work with, maybe let's say that's a problem, right? Customers are complaining that they're not able to reach their customer service. They have a problem. They're not able to use the service, but they're not able to call the customer service to even complain and have their issues resolved. It takes forever, right? For you to be able to find what the gaps are, right? You need to analyze what that current process, that assist, what are the, how does that current process work today? Right. So you need to analyze that to find what the underlying problems are, what the root cause are. Could it be that you don't have enough, agents on the other end to attend to customers? Could it be that, you need to have, you don't have enough channels where your customers can reach you on? Analysis of, that current state would, help you to unearth, what the possible causes or the possible gaps are. Number two, after you've analyzed the current state, the assist is then to identify the future state, the ideal future state. Who can remind us what we said the BA term, the business analysis term for future state is? The to be, fantastic. So you need to identify the ideal future state, right? So once you have the big picture figured out and understand how your team works or the process works, then you want to become idealistic, right? Where would you like to be, right? So as a company, this example that we're giving, as a company, where we want to be or where we would like to be is the point where our customers are able to reach us when they want to reach us, right? Customer calls into customer care. Under 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that call should be answered, right? Customers should have, channels, different channels, maybe on Twitter, maybe on, on Instagram, on chatbots. There are a lot of chatbots today that you can, chat and, even on WhatsApp, and they will respond to you. That's the future state that I want to get to, so that our customers stop complaining that they're not able to reach us to resolve their problems. That's the ideal future state. Now, number three is then to identify the gaps, right? So by the time you've analyzed, the as is, and then you've identified the ideal point where you want to be, the to be, right? You bring those two together, you're then able to identify the gaps, right? So a comparison of your current process, of your current state, which is the as is, and your future state, which is the to be, would help you to unearth, the gap where you want to, get to. For example, you maybe your SIM registration process you should be able to attend to customers, maybe you should be able to attend to 10 customers um, per hour. But currently, you're only able to attend to 7 customers, right? The future state, the ideal state is 10 customers, but currently you're only able to attend to 7 customers in 1 hour. If you bring those two together, you're able to tell that there's a 3-hour, gap somewhere, right? And what is causing that? Right? Maybe there's not enough agents, all of those. So identifying the gaps, which is the third step. At this point, you then start to, evaluate what the possible causes are, right? Could it be a hiring problem? Could it be a training problem? Sometimes even the people who are using the processes are not well trained. And that's why it takes them so long, to resolve customer issues or customer complaints, or it could be a computer or equipment problem. It could be anything, right? But by the time you've analyzed the current state and you've identified the future state, you're then able to identify those gaps. And then the fourth step is then to create and implement a plan to bridge that gap. So now you've analyzed the current state, you've identified the future state, you've identified the gaps. Now you want to, bridge that gap, right? By creating a solution to solve, to close those gaps. Right. So now you've identified the existing gaps. This is where you then need to, come up with goals on how you want to, bridge those gaps, on how you want to close those gaps. You develop action items, whether you want to release a new service, you want to increase, add more channels, so that customers can reach you, and all of those things. This is where you then implement that plan. So these are the first steps performing a gap analysis. Now, quickly, we'll look at some use cases. The first use case we'll be looking at is, in real estate, right? I think we have someone on the call who is into real estate. And like I said earlier, as a business analyst, you shouldn't restrict yourself to just core tech companies. I know a couple of us are, you want to work with Meta, which is Facebook, or WhatsApp. You want to work with Google. You want to work with Amazon. Those are fantastic tech companies, but as a business analyst, you're not restricted to those industries. You can be in real estate. You can be, even in health, right? like here in the UK, we have what we call for NHS, we have what we call NHS Digital, right? That's like the technological arm of NHS, right? For health sector, right? And these days they are recruiting business analysts, data analysts and the like. So you shouldn't restrict yourself to just, core tech companies. So the use case we'll be looking at, today for real estate is, increasing real estate sales. So we have John. John is a real estate agent who wants to increase his sales, right? So in doing that, John analyzes his current state, right? So we're going to follow these 4 steps that we talked about here, in analyzing this real estate. John looks at his current state and performing a gap analysis. John starts by assessing his current annual sales, which is $1 million in property sales. So currently, John is making $1 million in property sales. Now, what is the future state? Where John would ideally want to be is that he wants to increase his sales by 20% this year, which is a SMART goal of $1.2 million in property sales. So John's current state is that he's making $1 million, but he wants to get to a point, the future state where he's making $1.2 million, right? And in identifying the gaps, John starts by asking why he's not selling more, right? John realizes he's not having enough conversations with buyers and needs to expose himself to more people in the housing market, right? That is the gap he has found by analyzing his current state, and his future state. And in bridging that gap, what does John do? John, commits to joining two new networking groups that meet monthly. And in doing so, John is able to talk to more people and expand his network of potential buyers, thus creating a solid game plan for success, right? He looked at his current state, right? He's currently making $1 million. His future state where he would like to be is $1.2 million. In identifying the gaps, he found that, he has not, exposed himself to a lot more people in the housing market. And the more he talks to people, he feels the more he'll be able to make sales. And in bridging that gap, he commits to joining, 2 new networking groups that meet monthly. That's John. Now we'll look at another use case in tax, right? And this is for improving tax returns efficiency. So here we have Jessica, right? This is Jessica on this left-hand side. Jessica runs a tax filing office and feels that her staff is not very efficient in doing each return, thus hindering bottom line performance, right? So what is the current state for Jessica? For the current state is that the average time Jessica's staff takes to complete a tax return is 55 minutes. She compares this to other tax. Hi, can you hear me? Hi. Hi. Can you guys hear me?
I think your network is breaking.
You said what? My network is breaking.
I hear you.
Is my network breaking or because I think it's clear? Yeah, I'm audible. All right.
We can hear you.
All right. So the average time it takes our staff to complete a tax return is 55 minutes, right? And then she compares this to, other tax filing offices and, she sees that their own, the time it takes them is about 35 minutes per return. And, the future state where she would like to be ideally is, to be completing tax returns in 35 minutes. So she sets a SMART goal. We're all familiar with SMART goals. Should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. She set a SMART goal of reducing a tax return preparation time to 35 minutes, right? That's a future state. So in identifying the gap, she starts to ask questions as to why it takes her staff so much longer than other offices. And then she realizes that they are not utilizing all the software tools available to them, to fasten each filing, right? So they have software tools available to them, but they are not, utilizing those tools. And, software helps to make things faster. So maybe I start because they're not able to use those tools. They're doing those tax filing manually, which of course will take more time. So in bridging that gap, what does Jessica do? Jessica decides to implement a training program that will teach her staff how to use the resources available to them to shorten the time to prepare each return. So the gap, the implementation she did to bridge that gap was to, organize a training program and to teach them how to use those software tools so that they can be efficient in using it, and that can reduce, the time it takes to prepare each return. Right. So we have some gap analysis tools. We'll be talking about 2 of them today. The first one we're talking about is called the SWOT analysis, and I know a couple of us on the call we've probably heard about SWOT analysis. You've heard about it somewhere in the past before. So SWOT analysis stands for strengths. SWOT in itself is an acronym that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? This process will help you determine, the internal and external threats to your organization and see where, and how you stand out against competition, right? So we'll look at each of these, acronym, right, as part of SWOT analysis, looking at this grades. So the S, which stands for strengths, here you want to start asking questions around what are the things that we do well, right? If it's a company that you're analyzing, or if it's a process, what are the things that work well, as part of this process? If it's a product, what are the features? What are the things that, work really well as regards this product, right? What's unique about this product? What's unique about this process? What's unique about this organization? Those are the things that, you would identify as your strengths. An example, you look at your customer service, say our customer service, is world-class compared to our competitors, right? Seeing as we have an NPS score of 90, right? So that's the strength for this particular company. Their customer service is world-class, right? Because their NPS score is 90. So NPS stands for Net Promoter Score, right? So what Net Promoter Score does for you, and this is measured across most industries, it's particularly also measured very, very well measured in telecoms as well, is that it helps to tell, the degree at which, your customers would, the degree to which they love your product and the degree to which they would recommend or refer your services to other people. That's your NPS score, right? So if you have an NPS score as a company, right, that shows that, customers, like your product or your services, and they are willing to refer, that service to other people, thereby bringing more customers to yourself. So it just shows, gives you a good feel as a company that, customers are able to refer us to other people. So that's the strength for this particular company. Now, what's the weakness, right? As part of weakness, you start to you want to identify what are the areas that can be improved on, right? What are the things that we can do to improve our performance? What are the things that are not working well for this process, for this product, or for this service, right? So an example here is that they've identified their e-commerce visibility as a weakness, right? They're saying that our website visibility is low due to our lack of marketing budget, which with transactions continuing to decrease, right? So for this e-commerce company, whilst their customer service is world class, whilst their customer service is good for the few customers that they have low visibility when it comes to their e-commerce, that's their website, right? They don't have marketing budget, to make ads and all of those things, and people don't see that, that service, and they can't use it. That's a weakness. Now, what are the opportunities that they identified, right? So as part of opportunities, you start to, to check whether are there market gaps, in our services that we can close, right? What are the things that we can leverage on, right, as opportunities, right? So one of the things they identified here is, to come up with a marketing campaign, right? They said in order to improve our e-commerce visibility, that's them trying to, close this weakness, we will run advertisements on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, right? And a lot of us are familiar with this, with this campaign. Sometimes you're on Instagram and you see, an advert for, maybe a shoe, and then you've never visited that website before, and then because the shoe looks nice, or that product that you've seen looks nice, you click on it, and then you're taken to the website, and then you're able to see, oh, these guys even have even nicer products, and then you buy, right? That's one of the advantages of, marketing. That's an opportunity that they're saying that they need to leverage upon, right? And then lastly is the threats, right? They want to see, are there industry changes in our industry? Are there market trends, new market trends on the horizon that we need to be wary of? And for this particular company, one of the threats for them is a new competitor, right? So they're saying that, there's a new e-commerce competitor that is set to launch in the next month, which can lead to them having a decline in customers. That's a threat. I remember when, what's it called now? This internet, this thing was going to be launched. Is this SpaceX by Elon Musk's company? Where they're going to launch this satellite internet in Nigeria, right? It was a big competition to the traditional telecoms industry in Nigeria, right? Big competition to MTN, to Airtel, globe, because these guys were promising very fast internet rates, at speeds that, you've never imagined. It was a big threat, and, they had to come up with ways to, to improve. That's the MTN and Airtel and had to come up with ways to improve their services. They started to launch 4G at the time. Now we have 5G, so that they can sort of compete, with that threat, like sort of meet up with it, right? So that's a threat, for this particular company. A new competitor is a threat, right? Because if a new competitor comes to launch, then customers can go on to that new competition, and they will have a decline in our customers. So we need to improve our services, to mitigate that threat one way or the other. So that's what analysis. Quickly, we'll be looking at the second gap analysis tool we'll be talking about is called the fishbone diagram, right? And this is named for its distinctive shape, right? So if you see this shape, this diagram here, it looks like a fish, right? You can see the head of the fish, you can see the fins, of the fish. In some images, you see the tail of the fish, right? Even though it's not consequential, right, to the definition or to the depiction of this method, but sometimes it's just there, right? So a fishbone diagram is also called an Ishikawa, right, which is named after the person who came up with this, this tool, or a cause and effect diagram, a cause and effect tool, which I particularly love, right? Called a cause and effect, right? And I would explain that in a couple of minutes. Or it's also called an herringbone diagram. An herringbone is the type of fish, that this is depicted after, right? Herringbone fishes are known to have lots of bones in them, right? And that's what, when you look at this, that's sort of, indicating the number of bones, in this particular fish. So the fishbone diagram or the cause and effects diagram helps you to explore the possible causes of a root problem, right? And they are typically valuable when you're examining the current situation, the current process. They assist, right? Because you want to identify the gaps, in that current process, right? So the causes of a root problem are typically categorized into 6. And that is what we call the 6 M's framework for a root cause, right? Remember, we're trying to find out, the root cause, the gaps, right, to the problems that we're seeing, right? So number 1, as part of the 6 M's, is the manpower, right, which is the people, right? So as part of you trying to identify the gaps in that particular process, you want to see, you want to try and analyze the manpower, the people that use that process, right? How do they use it, right? The people, right, refers to the physical or mind or the personnel of the people that actually use that process, right? It could be the agents, the customer agents, or the engineers that use that process. Whatever process is the people that use that process, you need to analyze them as well. Secondly is the method. You need to analyze the method, right? How do they carry out, that process, right? It could be the production process or the service process, whatever the process is. Number 3 is the machine, right? Or the equipment, right? What are the equipment or machines that are used as part of that process? You want to analyze, that as well. Number 4 is the material. Are there raw materials that are used as part of that process that you need to analyze as well? Number 5 is the medium, which is the environment, right? The environment that that process is being carried out in, is it conducive enough? Is it convenient enough? You need to analyze that as well. And number 6 is measurement, right? We can also be called inspection. Are there standards in place, to make sure that, there's quality across board, right? So these are the 6 M's for finding a root cause, right? So what this does basically is it points you, the 6 M's gives you a guideline to say, look at each of these categories, look at the manpower, look at the method, look at the machine or the equipment, analyze the materials, analyze the medium, analyze the measurement, right, or the inspection, for you to be able to come up with possible gaps, right, possible root causes, to that issue. We'll look at a case study quickly, to further, drive that home, right? So we look at this use case. An operations manager at an assembly line in Coca-Cola has noticed that production is not meeting expectations, right? After completing a gap analysis, they find the root cause to be an issue with some machinery, and now they know exactly what to fix to improve production, right? I've been opportune to visit one of the Coca-Cola plants in Lagos, right? The one in Ikeja, at some point, and this was a problem that they had at the time, right? And they were having what we called an assembly line process inefficiency, right? And the reason why, let's say for them, the goal is at the end of at every month they should be able to produce, let's say, 50,000, cartons of Coca-Cola every month, right? But they're only able to produce 4,000 cartons, right? Let's just bring it down a bit. The goal is to produce 10,000 cartons of Coca-Cola every month. You know that those plastic bottles that you buy in traffic and in shops and all of that. But they're only able to produce 7,000 cartons, right? Their future state, their ideal state where they should be is producing 10,000 cartons of Coca-Cola every month. But they're only able to produce 7,000. And the reason why that is happening is because of this assembly line process inefficiency. The assembly line that they use in producing those Coca-Cola is inefficient, right? It's maybe slow, it's not working optimally as it should work, and that's why they're not able to meet up with their target of 10,000 cartons per month. And I'll explain what an assembly line is. An assembly line basically is so what an assembly line means is um those plastic bottles, right? In an assembly line, they typically will have different points, right? For example, you'd have, the points where they put that plastic bottle, maybe to wash it, some clear liquid will go into the bottle, would rinse it out, and then to go to another point where it is air dried, right? So that is dry so that the liquid, the water, whatever is dried from the bottle, and then it moves on to another point, where they fill in the Coke liquid itself, the Coca-Cola liquid, that will come from like a tap. All of this, the bottles are moving from one point to the other, and then to move on to another point where, the cover goes on it, they cover it, it moves on to another point where they put on the label, on the bottle, the plastic bottle. It moves on to another point where it is then, packaged into boxes, or wrapped, that's an assembly line process, right? Because it's moving from one point to another. They will assemble all of those bottles and then they will move, in a particular line, till they're completely packaged. Right. So they're saying that we are having assembly line process inefficiencies. That is the effects that they are saying. And that is why I said, when I was talking about, fishbone diagram being a cause and effects, right? That's particularly, that's one, very obvious, cogent reason why it is cause and effect, right? The effect that they are saying is that, there's assembly line process inefficiency, right? But what are the causes? What are the things that are possibly causing these inefficiencies that they're saying, right? So we'll then use the 6M's framework, right, to analyze, what the possible causes, to this effect is. Remember, it's a cause and effect, right? So first we look at the manpower, which is the people. And as part of this, we found that, they have staffing issues. They don't have enough staff, right? And because they don't have enough staff that, are controlling that assembly line, at some point, that is slowing down the process, right? Even the little staff that they have don't have enough training or they don't have the expertise, to use some of those machines, right? And that is slowing down the process, right? So what the 6M's framework does for you is it points you to this category, gives you this category to say, go into each of these categories, analyze them, ask questions as regards each category, and then from you asking questions, from you fleshing it out, you'll be able to find out what the possible causes are to the effects that you're seeing, which is these inefficiencies that they are seeing, right? So the staffing issues, they don't have enough training, they don't have enough expertise. They go into the method of how they are carrying out, the production. They're saying that, most of the staff are standing, throughout the day, and the more they stand, the more they get, slow or they get weak because again they are humans, right? And then the slower they get, that's adding on to the inefficiencies, um, that they are finding. Then you go into your machine or equipment, right? You analyze it. Okay, for example, we found out as part of analyzing the machine category that some of the machines are manual, right? They are not automated, right? Let's say about 60% or 50% of the machines are manual, right? That's a gap, right? That's possibly causing this inefficiency, right? Because if you have all your machines automated, of course, that's going to hasten, production process, right? Or machine misuse. They're not using the machines as they should. Material. You go into the material category, you analyze it. What are the quality of resources or raw materials? Are they good enough, right? For example, I'll give an example here. At the point where, when I explained the assembly line earlier, right? At the point where the the Coca-Cola liquid, the Coke liquid itself is being filled into the plastic bottle, right? Out of 10 plastic bottles that passes through that point, right, 3 of them explodes or bursts, right? Now, that is probably due to the pressure. Maybe they can't withstand the quality of that plastic bottle cannot withstand the pressure of the liquid that is being poured into it. That speaks to the low quality of the plastic bottle, right? Because now out of 10 bottles that passes through that point, only 7 are able to successfully pass through. 3 of them would explode or burst because it's low quality. Now, all of those things are also adding to the inefficiencies because it's slowing down the rate of production, right? So this starts to give you a bigger picture to say that's why at the end of the month we're only able to produce 7,000 cartons instead of the ideal state of producing 10,000 cartons, because by the time 10 bottles pass through that point, only 7 is able to pass through successfully, 3 burst. So that's a gap. So maybe we need to take this up with the suppliers of our plastic bottles, to put in more quality into the plastic bottles so they can withstand pressure. It helps you to identify, to go into each of these categories and analyze what the possible gaps, possible issues are, to the effects that you're seeing. You go into medium, the environment that they're working in, there's workspace cluttering, everywhere is tight, they're not able to move around freely. You go into measurement or inspection, there are no measurable standards, So for this, if there was a measurable standard in place in the first place, right, that would have checked for, the quality of the plastic bottles, right? Because there would have been a standard in place to say, the bottles should be able to withstand a particular pressure, right? And that would have been tested even before, those bottles go into the production process, right? And then you wouldn't have those bottles exploding. So in this case, there are no measurable standards, right? Whatever the supplier gives to us, that's what we take. We don't, give them a standard to say they should withstand this pressure, it should meet up to this standard, So what the 6Ms does for you, like I've explained, is it points you to each of these categories, to find out what the possible root causes are, what the possible gaps are to the effect that you're seeing, right? Because by the time you then analyze each of these categories, you're then able to, uncover those gaps, right? And then you're able to say, oh, these are the things that are causing this issue. And then you can, come up with a plan, to close those gaps, to implement, the solutions, right? The gaps for that. This is where we're going to be ending for the case study. There are other techniques, like I've said, in business analysis, right? But this is one of them, gap analysis. There are several other, there's elicitation, there's process mapping, SDLC, RISC, there's the use of JIRA, there's, all sorts, right? That you need to be equipped with for you to be a business analyst. But quickly, before I hand over to Damilola, we just want to discuss how can you then become a business analyst, right? So this is just sort of like an overview slide, right? Like we said earlier, the business analyst acts as a bridge between the business stakeholders and technical teams, right? Ensuring that there's effective communication and understanding of requirements. Right, that's your role. That this is you as a business analyst, right? You can see yourself here in the middle, and you're interfacing with the non-technical people who we call the business teams. That's your stakeholders, CEO, CFO, and then you have the technical guys who are the developers, the analysts, and all of that. You're that interface between them, right? What is the average salary for a business analyst? In the UK, the average salary for a business analyst is about £52,000. Again, it could be more depending on the kind of industry that you work in. In Canada, it's about 74,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, about 85,000 US dollars. It could be more depending on the industry, that you work with. In Nigeria, an average salary for a business analyst is about 500,000 naira. Or more. I know telecoms company pay more than that. You find yourself in oil companies as well. I think they pay more than that as well. So again, it's going to vary based on the industry, right, that you find yourself in. But that's sort of like the average salary, for business analysts, which is really good, to be honest. It's fantastic, right? So as part of this, what are the key learning areas that you're going to be learning, right? If you do become part of the class, part of the cohorts. I know Dami will be explaining this in a bit more detail, but I'll just give you, an overview. The first things we'll be teaching you or be taking you through will be, learning about Excel, Power BI, and SQL, right? That's structured query language, right? And you'll be wondering, what is Excel, Power BI, and SQL doing in business analysis, right? Because ideally they should be primarily in data analysis. But we found, that from experience and then with time, we found that recently a lot of companies are starting to require that business analysts have some data analysis skills, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be, you don't necessarily have to be an expert in it, right? You need to have, you could be just a beginner or an intermediate level, but they want you to be able to, be able to use Excel. They want you to be able to, based on insights that you found on some processes, come up with dashboards, right, in Power BI to show us, what the current state was, the trends. Maybe, in the current state, you saw that the customer trend was going down, because the process is not working. And then by the time you implemented the future state, the customer trend or the customer acquisitions was going up. Those basic things like that, you should be able to do it as a business analyst, right? You should be able to query data, right, for you to build those dashboards. So we've incorporated that into business analysis training as well for you, which I feel like it's a plus, right? Because there's a separate data analysis class, right, which you can pay for separately, right, for you to learn data analysis. But we're giving you, the first 3 weeks of your time in business analysis, you learn, these data analysis skills, high level, so that you're not just, you don't go into the world of business analysis without having those skills. We want to make sure you're fully equipped, for that. So that's the first things you will learn. And then you move into the core business analysis, topics, right, and techniques. And that's where we start to discuss process mapping, project initiation planning. We start to discuss Agile and Scrum. We start to talk about software development life cycle, which is very important, in business analysis. We start to talk about requirements, fundamentals, and elicitation, requirement analysis and engagement. We do a bit of ChatGPT, how you can, get requirements from ChatGPT. We're all familiar with ChatGPT, the new AI, to give you some use cases how you can, generate user stories, requirements using ChatGPT, and all of that. Some of the tools that you'll be using, Excel, SQL, Power BI, Draw.io, you'll be using Jira as well, because we want to equip you with these tools. The learning timeline for business analysis, for 10 analytics, if you do come on board, you will become a BA, we can guarantee that you become a business analyst in 4 months, right? And even before the end of that 4 months, we've had people that have, gotten jobs, had interviews, and they will supported them through it. Tammy will explain, all of this in a couple more slides, but in 4 months, we'll be able to equip you with the knowledge, skills, practicals, tools that you need to become a business analyst, right? That 4 months is split into two. In the first 2 months, you learn, you come into our live classes, you learn how to, we teach you the topics, just as we have gone through the class today, you'd have facilitators, teach you, ask questions, very calm, people and facilitators, they'll walk you through all of the techniques, using all of these tools, as well. That's in the first 2 months. In the next 2 months, you then go through what we call an internship, right, with analytics, right? Tammy will explain that in a bit more detail, where you either work on managing a web application development project, you work with other people like Scrum Masters, and the likes, right? In coming up with a project. So this is sort of like an overview of what you would get, right, on how you then become a business analyst, at the end of this training. Now I'll just hand over to Dami. If you have any questions, please just put in the chat. I'm sure Dami will take questions as well. Dami, we can't hear you. You're on mute. So I'll hand over to Dami to take it from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Sheil. Can we give Sheil a round of applause for that amazing session? I particularly learned a lot, and I hope you guys did as well. Thank you so much, Sheil, right, for the practical aspect. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen to, take us through. In less than 20 minutes, we'll be out of here. I'm just going to take us through everything that we'll be covering for the rest of the program. Shame, okay. Right. Ubong, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. Okay. So Sheil has taken us through. Okay. Sheil has taken us
through a business analyst is and basically the key learning areas. So I'm going to talk us through why you should train with Analytics. All right, if you joined this session at the beginning, or if you look through our LinkedIn or YouTube, Instagram, you see a lot of people talking about how they enjoyed their program with Analytics and why every other person should train with Analytics as well. And then if you take a look at our achievements in 2023, we were able to help over 850 plus people transition from the classroom into their first jobs in tech across UK, United States, Canada, Europe, and Asia. And we are definitely looking to do more in 2024. Okay, so more on why you should train with Analytics. We have up-to-date curriculum. We are always, bringing our curriculum up to speed. There's never a time that you get off the session and then realize that there's a particular thing that you did not learn, because we're always working with up-to-date curriculum, right? And then we work with industry experts with hands-on experience as well. Just like Sheon, we work with people that they have the experience, they have the knowledge, they've been through it from the scratch, and they are willing to take you through every other thing, right, hand in hand. Then we also work with the blended training delivery to accommodate everyone. If you're a slow learner, you're a fast learner, we do live classes. You also get recordings for the classes. So at any point in time, if you missed a class, you're able to go back to the recording to watch again, catch up. You have your facilitators in class in your WhatsApp group, your Google Classroom. They are like 100% available for you. Then we have additional employability services that I'm going to discuss in full detail later. We also have the internship that I'm going to also throw more light on in the next couple of slides. But all of these things come together to make you an industry-ready business analyst. Okay, so speaking on the additional employability service, we've got the CV review sessions, and these are sessions where we bring in experts to take you through how to optimize your CV, how to build your CV from scratch. We get you CV templates to work with, basically teach you from scratch how to build your CV, because it's very important to not just learn the skills, but also like know how to apply with the correct CV. You see a lot of people using old format CV. I can't even explain. You see pictures on CVs, you see date of birth on CVs. These are not things that you should have on your CV, right? So we'll have a fully packed session taking you through how to, come up with your own CV and also optimize your CV based on each job description that you're trying to apply to. Then we also have LinkedIn optimization, where we bring in an expert as well to take you through how to optimize your LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is like one job board that you do not want to joke with. You do not want to, just take on a lighter note. So we'll teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn so that it attracts recruiters and prospective companies to you. We'll also take you through Upwork optimization, and this is literally for everyone, but also like for people that are not, you want it as a side also, you're looking for a second thing to do. Maybe you work you have your 9 to 5, but you want to do something else on the side, or you want to take it as a full-time role, you don't want to work with any other company, or you're a student in the UK, your 20 hours is not giving you enough money, you want to, try to do other things. So we have the Upwork optimization session to teach you how to use Upwork to get gigs, get jobs, and get more money, basically, right? So we also have the navigating job market sessions, where we teach you how to navigate the job market, where you should go to apply for jobs, what you should be doing, how to, fine-tune your CV for every role they're going to be applying for. So you're not just applying blindly, if that's the word. Then we have the job and interview preparation sessions, where we, if you've applied you've optimized your CV, you've optimized your LinkedIn,
you've applied to jobs, they've called you, would sit you down, have a one-on-one prep session with you. Okay, these are likely questions they're going to get. This is what the questions they will ask. Basically, take you through a full interview preparation session. That way, you go into the interview with prepared, right? Then we have recommendation and reference letter. If at any point in time you have gotten a job, you need to submit a reference letter. We'll get you that at Analytics, or maybe you need to travel, you need a visa reference letter. We'll also send you that at Analytics. Then that's on level 1. We got level 2 where we have the weekly mentorship sessions. And these are sessions that, are meant to equip you with soft skills that you need to excel in this career. Because, as important as it is to have the technical skills, it's also very important that you have the soft skills. Because people say, I want to do business analysis, but you don't know how to communicate. It's very important that you know how to communicate as a business analyst. So we'll bring you into these sessions to teach you communications, presentations, applying to jobs, equipping yourself with AI skills. It goes on and on and on. We bring in body mentors, which I'll explain later. And then we have the on-the-job support, where we, guarantee that a month after you got in your job, you need help with 1 or 2 things. We are there to assist and help you. And on the level 3, we've got Promise to You, which is a guaranteed job interview 1 month after completing your training with Analytics. So you don't necessarily have to wait for years or even months, let's not say years, to try to land an interview. You're going to get the full experience of what it's like to interview, to take you through a business analysis interview. So speaking on the internship, right? We've got a 2-month internship prepared for you, free, of course. And you would have your dedicated coach assigned to you to help you through this 2-month journey. You're going to be building a web application. And not obviously, like, you're not the one building the application, but you're going to be acting as the business analyst for that project. Okay, so you get to work on a web development or web application, a web app, right, as your internship, during your internship, so that when you eventually start going for interviews and they ask you, like, okay, what have you worked on? What projects have you worked on? You're able to boldly say that you have worked on so and so and so. Okay, so very hands-on, very practical, and very interesting, very exciting. Would also support you to include the internship as relevant work experience. You get to include that internship as a relevant work experience. And then you also get to join our community of business analysts that are ready to support you through your career journey. Okay, so join our next cohort starting 4th of May 2024. That is less than 2 weeks from now, and we have been running the early bird discounts for about couple of weeks now. But yeah, we just have decided to extend it. So if you are going to be paying for the business analysis program, you get to pay the discounted price if you are one of the first 20 people, of course. Okay, so you get to pay $500 if you're paying in dollars, and instead of the full 750, instead of the full $750. Okay, so you need to pay you get to pay an installment as well. So you get to pay $350 at the beginning of the program, like right now, and then the second installment will be 1 month into your program. So if you're paying in dollars, you're paying $500 instead of $750. You're paying $350 first, and then you're paying $150 1 month into the program. If you're paying in pounds, you get to pay £425 instead of £625. That's a whooping 33% off. So at the beginning, to register, you get to pay £300, and then you get to pay £125 1 month into the session. Okay, If you're paying in euros, you're paying 475 euros instead of 730, right? You get to pay 350 first, and then you get to pay 125 euros 1 month into the program. If you're paying in card, you're paying 750 Canadian dollars. That's 500 at first and then 250 later. And if you're paying in naira, you're paying 600,000 naira. You're paying 400,000 naira first and then 200,000 1 month into the session. Okay, so my colleague is going to drop the link to pay. So you can always like visit the pay online. Very seamless process. Just click on the link to pay. That's mainstack.me at enroll analytics. Yeah, just to make payments. Okay. And again, it always seems impossible until you actually get it done. So these are some of our success stories. Like you hear us say all the time, we do not just come to just bamboozle you and just give you a little bubble. We come with evidence, like full evidence. So let's talk about some of our success stories. This is somebody telling Adeza, who is our founder, that he got a job. Oh yeah, Mojisola got a job as a business analyst in the UK. This is Mojisola breaking the news to us at Analytics. Then we also have Michael, who got a job as a business data analyst in the UK, working with the energy sector. And yeah, he also shared the story with us. This is Abigail. I'm going to play Abigail's video so that you can hear directly from Abigail. So I'm just going to okay, I'm just trying to share play the video. So this is trying to play. I don't know what this. Oh, okay.
Hi guys.
I'm just gonna share my screen so that we can all enjoy that together. Okay. Okay. Please let me know if you can.
Abigail, how are you doing today? I know. I'm good, thank you. How are you today?
Ayobong, can you see my screen and can you hear the video? Hello, guys. Okay. Ubong Sheung, please confirm you can see my screen and
Very well. Where are you joining us from, Abigail? I'm from
or anybody in the chat. I don't know why I'm not getting any response. Oh, okay, yes, we can. Thank you.
Saskatchewan, Regina, Canada, but I'll be moving to Edmonton end of the month for my new job. Brilliant. All right, so yeah. Abigail would like to hear your story because, of course, there are so many people here, they want to become business analysts. They've always found it very difficult and think that I must be the most intelligent person on earth to transition or become a business analyst. So tell us about your story. How were you able to make the transition yourself? Yeah, so coming to, you have this mindset when you come from Nigeria to Canada, you just thought you are landing the 6-figure job and then you are going to be rich in the next 2 months, 3 months or more. When I came, there's a different story. I choked. So I was unemployed for some time, like it was depressing in and out. So I thought to myself, like, I used to think like I'm intelligent, but no, Canada told you are not intelligent. Like it is zero. So I've always, I got the certification of business. Sometimes you just do something. I always say it even in class, you got it and you don't know what it means. You don't know whatever, So I had it and then the search for job, I was called for interviews and all of that. So possibly, I think I fumbled a lot in the interview. So I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I need to do something. And then a friend saw the advert of Analytics and like, do you think this is something he could do? And before he could answer, I'd already paid my money because I know I needed coaching and all of that. So I did the coaching. It was in the coaching.
Are you a STEM professional and are looking to apply for U.S. permanent residence?
From Abigail. I'm from Saskatchewan, Regina, Canada, but Fantastic. I'll be moving to Edmonton end of the month for my new job. Brilliant. All right. So Abigail would like to hear your story because, of course, you know, there are so many people here. They want to become business analysts. They've always found it very difficult and think that I must be the most intelligent person on earth to transition or become a business analyst. So tell us about your story. How were you able to make the transition yourself?
Let me see if I can share it.
You know, you have this mindset when you come from Nigeria to Canada, you just thought you are landing the six-figure job and then you are going to be rich in the next 2 months, 3 months or more.
Sorry, I don't know why that is happening. I don't think people can see my screen. Okay, I'm not sure why you guys can't see my screen. I have tried refreshing, and that's a very. Let me see if I can try again with another.
Let me see if I can share it.
Hi guys.
Oh, okay.
In and out. So I thought to myself, like, I used to think like I'm intelligent, but no, Canada told me you are not intelligent. Like, it is there. So I've always, you know.
Are you able to see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Something I always say, even in class, you got it and you don't know what it means, you don't know whatever, you know. So I had it, and then the search for job, I was called for interviews and all of that. So possibly, I think I fumbled a lot in the interview. So I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I need to do something. And then a friend saw the advert of Analytics and like, do you think this is something he could do? And before he could answer, I'd already paid my money because I know I needed coaching and all of that. So I did the coaching. It was in the coaching that I realized I have entered in one time since that I don't know anything actually, even though I thought I knew. So it was in the coaching that I was, you know, I was really coached to the extent of there was one thing that is it Adese or the other guy said, like you could be a carpenter and be a business analyst. You could be a mother and you are a business analyst or a project manager. You could be selling pure water and you are a business analyst. So talk more of somebody that is a professional, like you worked for 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, maybe 15 years. So you are certainly, you know, a business analyst. So what I did after the lectures and everything, not every day I got the time to go through the lectures. Everything changed. My mindset changed. My perception about how to go about answering questions changed. So I'm like, okay, now you need this job so bad. How do you think you are gonna like be able to nail it? Now, before then, I was still doing like my $15 job, $17 job, where somebody that got just 2 years experience, 3 years will come and show you, you need to do this. You don't know this is, you know, and you're like, oh my God, like I've managed, you know, tons of people in Nigeria. Like I have a lot of subordinates, 15, 20, 5 maybe. And then somebody's telling you don't know how to do things, and it feels like, okay, no problem, it's not your fault. It's Canada that caused it or something like that. So I now told myself, okay, after the lectures and everything, which I am really appreciative and grateful about, I now told myself, the dull you inside your head, how are you going to do all this? Because it seems like a lot of information, a lot of things to deal with all at the same time. So what I did, I picked all the business analyst terms, all the terms.
So I made sure I know all the terms of business analyst. I crammed it basically. I crammed the elicitation, I crammed what is the use case, I crammed the communication diagram, I understood what is cost-benefit analysis, requirement analysis, business case, quality control gap analysis, process mapping, functional requirement, non-functional requirement, bottlenecks, collaboration, system enhancement, prioritization, traceability requirements, stakeholder collaboration, cross-functional team, all of that. Now, naturally, these are things that we use every day. These are statements that we use in our everyday life. But now it has moved to BA, they have changed the same topic and everything. For once, if you say requirements gathering, it will mean like, okay, give me the document to open an account. But now it has come to BA, the name has changed to requirements gathering. So what I did to myself is understand the meaning in BA terms, what it means. Okay, requirement gathering, what is gap analysis? Like, this is a problem. What is the problem? What do I need to do and all that? So like I learned these terms that when you wake me up, you tell me what is this, I know what it means. So after that, after I did that, when I go to interview, I made conscious effort not to call customer when I need to say stakeholder, so that you would think in your head that I am a professional, even though my head is still dull somehow. So that is what I did. I crammed the terms, which can help some of us, because now, like they explained, it just feels like a lot of information, like, oh my God, all the big terms. But when am I going to learn all these things? Like, when am I going to understand what is functional requirement again? It is very simple functional requirement. It is like, like it is as simple as ABC. So what I would tell you guys, to get it faster for you guys, is to understand these terms and start using it in your like daily day life, so that when you go to interview, it just comes naturally. When I had the last interview, it just feels like I felt like I did a lot of rubbish. Like, please just send me my sorry mail. I'm already used to the sorry mail. And then I was surprised. It just like about a week or two, and I got like a reference check, and I sent to some of my friends. They're like, oh, I think you got the job. I'm like, no, I can't get the job, because I mean, it's big. Like, why should you? I'm a care worker. Why should you give me a supervisor, business analyst supervisor role from being like a care worker? No, like, that's not possible. I mean, the gap is like 3 times what I'm making, and like you are giving me so amount in an hour, and it's not a 6-figure yet, so we are getting to the 6-figure, I'm sure, eventually, but it's really good enough for a start, as somebody that you've always thought maybe you are not a BA, you don't have idea what it means, you have nothing, and all of that. So now the good thing is I'm going to be reporting to the manager data analyst, and then I also want to join the class of the next session of data analyst, because like you said, like, I'm clueless. You said there was a guy about being a BA, but he's clueless about what I think, yeah, he's clueless about being a data analyst. So I think it works hand in hand. So if any of you is here and you think, like, if you think about it, then trust me, you are a BA. If you just think about it, then you are. No need to like think, oh, I've not done this. All of us have been BA. That's what they've always sort of told us in analytics. And I'm really glad they push you, that you can ask the silliest and the most stupid questions, and then it just feels, I ask stupid questions, trust me, stupid questions that people would feel embarrassed to ask. There was a time they had the interview session, I refused to do because I knew I was going to booth. And we laughed so much about one guy that was saying, they asked me one question, like,
yeah, so that was Abigail sharing what she learned during the program, and also how she was able to get her interviews, job, and so on and so forth, right? So Abigail is somebody that we are totally proud of. She took the business analytics program, and of course now she works with the government of Canada as a business analyst. We also have Ramat. Ramat works with NHS as a business analyst in the UK, and she got a job as a
undergoing our training with us. And we got Tim Yvonne, we got Biola. There are so many people that have gone through this program, and this is just like some of them. It's like 1% of 1%, because we can't cram everybody in these slides. So these are people that you can check out their videos on YouTube just to see what they'll do, what they have to say. So these are some of the projects I'm going to be working on in the business analysis program. You are launching a sustainable packaging solution in a consumer goods company. Then also work on developing a customized CRM. If you want to know what CRM is, you can feel free to join the program. Optimizing the inventory management system. A lot of projects to work on to add to your portfolio, and just brag out there that you worked on. So the business analysis roadmap is 4 months of learning journey, 2 months of project-based live classes. Then you work on your capstone project. Classes are on Saturdays and Sundays. On Saturdays we have 2 live classes. We have 2 classes, right? And these are virtual instructor-led classes. On Saturdays, we have the morning and the evening session, same as Sunday. So the morning is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Evening is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time, which is 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. our better mountain time. Then we have the Sunday class. The morning session is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. This is tailored towards people that stay in UK, Europe, West Africa, Africa in general. Then we have the evening classes from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., which is 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. our better mountain time. Okay, then after your project-based life classes, you get to work on capstone project. Of course, you're going to be working on a full project there. And then you also get to do your 2-month internship. That is going to be on managing a web app development project. You're going to be managing a web app development project. Okay, so I think start there. Now, we've been saying business analysis, but there are like a lot of careers that you can dive into or like branch into after taking this program. Because another mistake that people do is, once they are done with business analysis, they try to start looking for just business analyst roles, which is wrong. Because as a business analyst, after taking the business analysis program, you can work as a business analyst, work as a business systems analyst, IT business analyst, operations analyst, continuous improvement analyst, change analyst, change management analyst, business support analyst, and business process analyst. There's a lot of analysts right here. Okay, so these are the roles that you can definitely work on after the program. Now, I'd also like to take you through why some of us struggle to land the job, and one of this is because you like put the cart before the horse. Carts before the horse. Okay, so this is why some people stay in a role you remain in one spot for like a very long time, because they put certifications, credentials, over competence. They don't like try to gather the skills. They are more after certificates. Of course, we'll give you certificates, the analytics, but we're also big on the skills that you're acquiring. Because if you, for example, don't know how to perform a process, a gap analysis, then what is the point of your certificate? So we are still like very big on building portfolios and showing proof of work and expertise, and also learning in public. Then some people also like trivialize job application. You see like a one CV to many jobs, one CV to many roles type of application. And this most times does not work, right? Because job application is, you need to approach it strategically. So it's not about the number of jobs that you apply to, but the quality of your application, right? So people need to like tailor their CVs to match every job description, and of course try to take the whole application thing more seriously. Then
another thing that people struggle with is not knowing how to sell themselves during an interview, right? You don't have an elevator, the elevator or elevation pitch, or I don't know what that is. Okay, so yeah, zero interviewing skills. Just give me to turn that off. Okay, yeah. So zero interviewing skills, and it's very important that you learn how to sell yourself. So very important. All right. So these are things that we're going to obviously like work with you on here at Analytics so that you overcome. So this counts is for first 10 people to register, and like I said earlier, we are sort of extending this to give more people the chance to register and also be a part of this amazing program. So meet your facilitators. You've got Adiza Suleiman, who's the founder of Analytics. I introduced Adiza earlier. And you're going to be meeting with Adiza like a lot, interfacing a lot during the session. You have Shion. Okay, so you enjoyed the video of Shion today. If you want to enjoy more, you have to register for the program. And yeah, we have Linda, who is also one of our business analysis trainers. She has over 10 years of experience. You're going to be meeting with Linda. We also have Olabisi, who is a business analyst at Access Bank, and also a Scrum Master and IT project manager. So Olabisi has a lot of experience. You're going to be meeting with Olabisi as well. So there's more testimonials here. If you'd like to check them out, please do. And yeah, we definitely look forward to having you guys join the program, and I would like to have your faces plastered here as well. Okay, so this can be you. You just need to take the required step. Okay, so at this point, we're going to be taking questions. If you have questions that you need us to provide responses to, yeah, so you just drop your questions in the chat, or you can use the raise an icon, and I will call you. Okay, so we'll take questions for quality day. A very fantastic day, I believe. Okay, you want me to display the fees? Okay, here you go. So, right, that's okay. I'm just going to take it back to, but you can always like check the link that my colleague is dropping as well. Okay, yeah. To make payments, okay. Oh, do we have office in the UK? Yeah, so Olufemi, we don't have a physical office. We do have a UK. Is it a UK or an UK? I really don't know. We have an address. That's what you're asking. But yeah, we mostly work 100% remotely. So if you need to speak with any of us, please feel free to send us a message on our social media at Analytics, either on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, and we'll answer your question. So sorry if I have skipped your question. You know, the whole thing is taking me down. So I'm just trying to scroll through to see the questions that I have missed. So don't be angry, Eunice. I'm trying to look for your question. Okay, you're asking if to still show the slides for the companies we are working with. Eunice, I'm not sure what you're asking. If you want to elaborate, that'll be fantastic. Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, the internship is 100% you working with Analytics. Okay, you're going to be working with Analytics for your internship. All right. I hope that answers your question. Hi, Chinyere, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? Okay, if we have a call up in our program, can we do it at Analytics? Yeah, I'm not, yeah. Send us an email and we'll respond to that internally if you can. Hi, Chinyere, so if you can send us an email. I'm just going to drop my email. So you can send that to me and I can take it up from there. Okay. Right. Do you have anyone that have gotten job from Nigeria to any of this? Sorry, do you have anyone that have gotten a job from Nigeria to any of this country? Oh yeah, Joyce. So if you're asking if, are you asking if we have people that have gotten jobs in Nigeria? You're asking if people have gotten jobs to any of these countries? I'm not sure. Okay, so for Eunice, I'm just going to try to go back to the internship part and let me know if I get there and you find what you're looking for. So that we're working on during the internship.
I think she's asking about the project slides, the kind of projects we'll be working on during the internship, which you just.
Okay, the projects.
Yeah, this ones.
Yeah, these are the projects that you're working on.
Eunice, does this answer your question now?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Shiva, for that. Joy. So yes, we have people that have gotten jobs in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, we today for our mentorship session today, we have somebody who we are bringing in somebody who currently works with a company in the UK but stays in Nigeria. Okay. Then let me also show you some other persons. No, not here. For example, Sonia here. Sonia stays in Lagos, Nigeria, and she works with American British Tobacco in the UK. Okay, so we have Victor stays in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, but he got a job as a people operations analyst in Chicago, Illinois. Okay, so we definitely have people that have I also have Abdurrashid. Want to look for sorry, I saw him earlier. Okay. Yeah, this is Abdurrashid. Abdurrashid stays in Abuja, Nigeria, and he works with Child 420 in the US as a data scientist. So yeah, we definitely do have people that have gotten jobs here in Nigeria, but outside the country. That's answered, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so somebody's asking how lucrative or are the opportunities of being in Nigeria? Do you want to answer that question? Hi, Shio.
Hi, yeah, it's very lucrative. Like I said, I was a business analyst back in MTN before MTN Nigeria before I relocated out. And now I know two people who were like my junior in uni, like 2 years or 3 years, who also are working with MTN now as business analysts. There are other industries, all not even other, all companies, Sterling Bank. I had one of my friends who was an electrical engineer with Ikeja Electric, and he has transitioned into being a business analyst with Wema Bank, and is working almost remotely from home, which is very convenient and good for him, paying him good money. So it's very lucrative, right? Whatever industry, every company is transitioning, right? They want to make more money, they want to release new services, new products. So they're in need of business analysts everywhere in the world, including Nigeria. So it's very lucrative.
Thank you very much. So I hope that answers your question, Tony. For people that would like to have access to the recording and also the PDF, the material, please fill the form so that we can send that to you. Do we have any more questions in the aisle? Anybody looking for clarification? We'll also have our clarity session over the week, so feel free to sign up for that to speak with us one-on-one. Let's just come together to rub minds. Yeah, do we have any other questions for us before we call it a day? Any questions? Ines, do you have any other questions for me? Okay, I guess not. So, yes, thank you so much for coming, everyone. I will definitely love to see you in class, and please register, make your payments. Let's, take you through the world of tech. Let's be your learning partner, your career partner, whatever it's called in your country. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a very lovely night or day. Bye. Thank you for coming, Shio. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.